Guys, Ben Travovic here from the Manly Seagulls.
Here's come through Luai.
The SuperCoach Experience Podcast is one of the best podcasts going around, boys.
They go, Toho! Scores
Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I just want to say, what a podcast. Go the Mighty Eagles.
Hey lads, Ewan Aiken here from the New Zealand Warriors. Hope you have a big year with the SuperCoach Experience Podcast.
Got the ball to Sims, it's down Toho! It's gone in again! What a pass!
What is up, guys? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Savage Turbos. And yes, it is time. It is time for... Yes, we always play that song in the first bye of the year, every single year for about 3 or 4 years now. So I'll start off the intro with Mikey, the coach of Trip Jack and Mafia. Mikey, it's been a few weeks since I've been on the pod and a few weeks since I've caught up with you. Since the last time I've spoken to you, you've come in hot.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back onto the podcast with you. We play that all the time in Byron. I forget about it every time. Like, I wasn't expecting it today, but very relevant. I'm excited. I'm a bit puzzled. Like, it's a hard place this week because I think there's a lot of big decisions, and yeah, you'll hear me blubbing on the pod today just with my kind of thoughts because I'm kind of torn into two. But yeah, coming in hot, big 12:58, and like, to be honest, it was really underwhelming week. Like, I didn't think my team performed that well, but it just so happens that everyone else sucked. So I got 12:58 with Captain Hines, very close to pulling a Tedesco or Cody Walker captaincy trigger, but just keep feeling that, no, this isn't the week to do a pod route. Like, I'm just trying to stick with the pack for now and not try to go for a big move to blow out. I'm just trying to make little moves, and that's working. So yeah, I'm ranked at 2,200, man. So I think this could be one of my biggest comebacks ever. Like, just the tactics I did to push myself from like 40,000 to get to where I am now. Now I'm at this rank perfectly for the buy time. So I think that's why I'm tempted to do what you normally do, Sabs, and just fucking pump through the trades and really try and flip high numbers. But this year I'm thinking something a little different, man. So yeah, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm hoping in this next 3 to 4 week period I can crack into the top 1,000 and catch up to you guys, which I'm slowly doing. And
the other co-host on the panel here, the coach of Kiss My Behinds. Welcome to the top 1,000. Jake, how are you?
Yes, it's been good. It's taken me 12 rounds, but I've joined Savs and Tim Moody in the top 1,000, coming off a 12-13. And yeah, it's the last couple of rounds have been good. I've kept, increasing my rank, and unlike Mike, I'm looking a little bit better for this round. I didn't lose too many players for this buy, and I have a decent amount of numbers. So hopefully I can hold some trades and navigate my way through these buys, and hopefully keep increasing my rank.
Timmy is now 320th. I think he's less than 10 points in front of me. I'm 330th. So it's very tight up the top there. Myself, I scored 1,105. Captain Hines again. Mikey, as a Hines captainer, he didn't look threatening at all, but a 51, considering that game, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a good score for considering. Like, I understand why we all did it, and the reason I didn't want to take it off him. Indigenous round, PointsBet Stadium, where he averages 108. To me, it was a no-brainer. It was too risky not to follow the pack on this one. I thought Roosters would compete.
I actually don't think it was following the pack. I think up the top, a lot of people captain Cleary. I think you'd find a lot of people just kept the captaincy on high from a few weeks ago. So
yeah, but statistically, he was still the highest.
I really thought it was going against the grain of things, but yeah, it just wasn't the route to go, was it?
We're lucky that Cleary did the same, so it didn't really, close too much or make too much of a gap. So it is what it is. I just didn't expect Roosters to do what they did, and these are the curveballs that we're going to deal with in SuperCoach.
Go ahead, say it.
Savs, do you have Teddy?
You know what's even funny about it? It's the same player does this to him every year. There's two components. One, not owning Tedesco most of the time, and the other component is
Turbo.
Yes, shuffling around Turbo. But
Yeah,
Sabs,
so
mate, we can't laugh too hard. You're in a good spot, man.
I'd be comfortably inside the top 100 had I not made that move a couple of weeks ago, but I knew the risk I was taking when it was happening. Guys, how many do we have for round 13? I'll start with you, Jake.
It was going to be 15, but Viliami Valetta picked up some random injury and he's not playing this week, so I've got 14. I'll be using one trade and that will give me 14 for this round.
Mikey?
I didn't even see that Viliami Valetta thing. You got to be kidding. I barely looked at team list. I'm now down him. I'm now down Snyder. I'm down to 10 without any trades, which is I'm not happy about it, but I really don't want to trade. I might make one, but I think making a trade just because you want to get your numbers up isn't worth it if you're going to target and go hard for the next buy, because to get another player, you've got to sell someone that you're probably happy with or not ready to sell yet as they play this round. So I'm finding a very tough round so far.
I'm going. I've got 14 at the moment. I was looking at 16 if I didn't have Cotter and Burr. If I had Cotter and Burr playing, but obviously not. So I've got 14. Pretty happy with that. That's with trading twice this week. This week I'm getting in Nat Butcher and Joey Manu. Joey Manu was in my side all week last week until I realised I had no players playing on 3 p.m. on Saturday. So I traded him for Reece Walsh, which I'm pretty happy about anyway. I think Reece Walsh is a nice pod leading into this round, playing an understrength Manly this Saturday. Although Gerbo's missed out on that Origin side, so not as understrength as they have been in the past. Mikey, what are your trades you're holding?
My plan before I saw, so everything was gonna I'm gonna have a bit of a spill here, but everything was kind of going around what happens if Snyder doesn't I knew Snyder was a 50-50, but I just didn't want to sell just in case he played. Could be a late inclusion still, but I wanted to make no trades. The main reason I wanted to is to get to where I have gotten. I've had to use so many trades. I've used 3 boosts. I've got 2 left, and I've only got 18 trades. So realistically, if I try and boost my numbers, I think 12 was a good number, 11 or 12. If I use 2 or 3 to try and do that, I'm down to 15. I then have 6 for the next buy round. I then have to use a good 8 or 9 to fill that, and I've got nothing left for the run home. So a bit of me is just going to take a bit of a hit. And I think that hit can be made up for if I field good numbers for the next buy round and then use that for the run home, because saving 2 or 3 trades in this round when most people use a lot, I think that can catch me up to where I should be with trades. If I stick where I am and only have 18 left over, I'm happy with that after this buy round. But a part of me now with Snyder out is wanting to do one of 2 things: screw this buy, take a risk and go Ezra Mam, and that's going to build cash. And if Ezra Mam holds a starting spot next week, that's one less trade I have to do. I'm going to boost next week to get 3 guys. I mentioned it on Ado's podcast. Shout out to him that just the Campbell Graham, Alex Johnston, Zach Lomax, all those 3 are going to be hot properties next week if you don't own them. Their break-evens are also going to be super low. So it's me trying to make a plan to hit 2 of those 3 immediately. And to do that, I've got to make some money. So Snyder to him, but also a side of me wants to just burn 1 trade. And I've been hyping him up to go Kurt Falls. Now, Kurt Falls will most likely kick goals, I'm predicting. I say it all the time. He's basically a Nathan Cleary clone. I believe basically this understrength Panther side can get a big win over the Bulldogs at home. I think he'll have a good score in him. The best part about that too is if Nathan Cleary doesn't play and they rest him and Luai, I would have a hand-in-hand replacement in Kurt Falls anyways. It's just I'd have to burn a trade maybe the week after to then go to Mam if he's not a trade, but I've just got to work out if it's worth it. I'm willing to burn 1 trade, but that could be a super pod move because I don't think too many will do it. I've just got to get my head around whether or not it's worth it for the 1 extra number.
I do like it. Kurt Falls has been on the radar for a long time. Never looked like he was going to get an NRL start, but this week he's confirmed Friday. He's a gun goal kicker. He's probably nearly better goal kicker than Cleary. They kick exactly the same. So
kicking them too.
if you're worried that Crichton and Cleary out, don't, because Kurt Falls is gun goal kicker. Jake, what are your trades this week?
My one trade is going to be Arrow to Tohu Harris. It was going to be David Fafita, but he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Just seems to be injury prone, that bloke. So I'm going Tohu Harris. Hasn't looked, I said on Sunday, hasn't looked too good. But I mean, the Tohu have passed. He's going to potentially go, 65, 70 points, playing big minutes. Just hopefully he gets back to that. And he's not really going to be affected by Origin at all, where some players might, be rested next week or the week after. Tohu's not going to have that problem.
I don't know about Tohu, Mikey. I think Angus Crichton is probably more of a appealing buy. Do you have Angus Crichton?
Yes, me and Mikey do have him, so that's why. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have Angus Crichton, 100% Angus Crichton will be my first player purchased.
So I'm actually not getting in Angus Crichton this week. I'm going Nat Butcher instead because I want someone to be able to flip over to a Isaiah Papali'i type player in between the bye rounds. And Nat Butcher is the perfect one who can score very similar and has a negative break even. So he'll make the money leading up to it. Angus Crichton saved by a try assist on the weekend, but
you could say the same thing about Nat Butcher, who scored a try.
That's true, but Nat Butcher is 100K cheaper. That being said, 100K is not that much in the scheme of things. So, and Angus Crichton is a potential keeper for the rest of the season. So, I'll definitely think about that one.
And Nat Butcher's also named at lock this week. Tupanua's on the edge.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's very good for me. But I think Crichton is an absolute great buy this week. 530,000 is cheap as chips for him. Mikey, let's go through the games. First game is on Thursday night. We only got 4 games to preview, so let's go through it. Titans versus the Cowboys. This is a game regularly I would target the outside backs for the Cowboys, an attacking player, because the Titans are missing Tino and Fafita, but nothing is really appealing there. Maybe the hammer at center at 280,000. What do we think, guys?
See, I'm going to be real vanilla with most of them. I don't think it's worth just wasting a trade for a short-term option because there's so many good options coming up for the next one. He could turn out to be good, but it's a tough one. Like he got picked in that extended Origin squad. I think you could do a lot worse, but it depends. Like maybe some people now want to not be patient with Ayala. Don't know how long he's out for, and they might want to flip him to Hammer to get an extra number. Yeah, that could be a go, but I'm not too much of a fan of him.
What do you think, Jake? I think it's not really because there's heaps of other options. He's a genuine downgrade option at the moment.
Yeah, 250K, but like Mikey said, at center, I mean, you go back to wing probably next week going forward. And last week he got 22. The week before he played, 70 minutes and got 15. I mean, we saw even previous years, he does not have the base. He does need tries, and a lot of the tries are off kicks. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to go him if it was maybe earlier on in the season, but if we're trying to save trades, I don't think bringing in the hammer, you're going to have to get rid of him in a couple of weeks anyway. So,
and with my side, I don't even have a centre wing that's not playing round 13 to sell to unless it's Lomax. So I'm definitely not doing that. We've got Jason Taumalolo named. That's huge. But on the other side of the park, Bo Firma is named, and he was ruled out earlier in the week for 2 to 3 weeks with a PCL or a pec or something. Bo Firma.
No, he was just in doubt. I don't think it was ever confirmed that he was confirmed 2 to 3. We know Fafita was, but Firma was kind of in doubt. They had a couple. They had Sarko, Masters, and there was another player that was in doubt as well. But it looks like they've all been named. At least they are the first game, so it's not going to really affect us much. We can wait until that Thursday night and then react to the hour before.
Yep.
I guess Firma, if you have him, you're going to cheering, but I don't think he's a player you're going to really bring in. I think there's much better options for this week to waste or use your trades on than
to waste your trades on. He could be laid out as well.
I corrected myself.
Mo Fodawaker and Jared Wallace named to start. They could be potential downgrade options for someone like Josh King if you want someone who can be a bridge to someone in the round 17 buy. Mikey, what do you think of them guys?
Fodawaker, I like when he gets some minutes because he's got a good PPM work rate. I was looking at him a couple of weeks back just in case he didn't make the side. So I don't hate it if you want a number in the front row. And Jared Wallace, we know he's just got a knack of scoring a try for a front rower. Like he can find the line. Yeah, probably the same thing again though. I don't know if it's worth a trade. Like if you've got some stacked trades up and you really want to boost your numbers, I could understand the Fodawaker move, but yeah, I'm not really liking.
Fodawaker quietly has been a bit of a gun this season. So he scores 56, 42, 70, 42, 40. Oh, they're terrible.
It's the minutes. The games he gets big minutes, he gets good scores, and I'm not willing to gamble on that.
And he will get big minutes, and he's got a 55 break even. So, I mean, it could be a play if you're willing to flip him quite quickly.
Yeah, 500k though. I think the fact that Tino comes back in and takes 70 minutes off that middle rotation, that he's not really going to be a play. And I think when we get to the Raiders game, I think there's probably a much better front row forward to bring in other than Mo Fodawaker.
And it's very similar price, yeah. All right, moving on. I guess there's not much in that game. Yeah, I mean, Scott Drinkwater with a 12 last week against Penrith. Would he be someone you're targeting who does have high upside?
Mikey? You're already saying, you're screaming no, Mikey.
Not with the 12 in his rolling average now. Nah, it'd be a waste. Like, it would have been good to jump on him before he went in that good run, and we were talking about him a couple of weeks ago. But for those that jumped on, you'd be happy having him for a game like this. Like, he could be a potential pod VC option because he does have a pretty decent ceiling. So there is mass changes in the Cowboys, so this is really going to test them too. I think this game could go either way because, the Cowboys have lost quite a few players, and Titans are missing their captain. So this will be an interesting one. I definitely think Titans can upset the Cowboys here.
And before we move on, Savs, just on Drinkwater, he's the sort of player you're gonna bring him in. The Cowboys have a pretty good draw up until round 17, so you can bring him in. And he's a player, I guess, you hope to score well from here up to 17. Then you can flip him to someone, or even considering to the run home, and maybe when Pappenhausen gets back over to him. But it's kind of awkward because he got such a massive break even and scored poor last week that you kind of wanted him earlier on when he was really dirt cheap. He's kind of at an awkward price right now.
Yep. I agree. Moving on to the next game, Penrith versus Bulldogs. There's mass changes here. Robert Jennings into the centres. Charlie Staines on the wing. Kurt Falls and Sean O'Sullivan come in. We've also got Chris Smith on the edge, Eisenhuth at lock, and Spencer Lena and Jamin Salmon on the bench. Mitch Kenny on the bench as well. On the other side of the park, Josh Adokar on the wing. Any of us interested by him? If we think Angus Crichton is a smoky to absolutely blitz it this week, then Josh Adokar has to be in the conversation.
The difference with those two players is Angus plays for the Roosters and Adokar plays for the Dogs. And he's an outside back.
And this is a testament to NRL players to not sign with the Dogs because if you've got an origin spot, it's going to be up for contention if you don't perform. But yes, I agree with you. Jacob Kiraz, what are we thinking of the Jacob Kiraz trade in, guys? Are we a bit disappointed that, we sold Tass for him?
Not entirely. It's an extra number. He still made a nice profit of, he's at 256k. He's playing again this week with another, so minus 27. So if you can jag a try and some attacking stats, which I'm sure he can, it's 61, another 61k that we could make. So if you can get around to that 300,000, I'm happy if he's just a short-term play and we could flip him to another player or downgrade to another cheapie. Like, I'm not ruling out not going back to Tass if there's a long-term injury from the South, if that's going to generate money and get my numbers up for the next buy. But with Kiraz, it is what it is. Like, most people jumped on, so we're still making a bit of money, and we can decide what we want to do later.
Yeah, and I think he showed enough in the first two games that he does have a bit of upside. He was one 100%. Pass away from a double on the weekend.
I didn't want to frigging pass it.
I mean, he's still got 29 and doing absolutely nothing. And at bottom dollar, you take that, and he's still potentially going to make a bit more money quite quickly. So yeah, I don't think anyone should regret that trading last week.
100%. For Tyler Mariner, he's in the starting side. Max King starts again, which 63. That is, it's absolutely amazing that we can rely on him. He's not an urgent sellout after 14, but I think between 14 and 17, he might be a target to sell out. No TPJ. Did any of us jump on TPJ?
I think
No,
we're all lucky.
luckily. I think the suspension thing kept me off him. He'd be someone I would have jumped on for a 1 week play, but it's too hard to waste a trade on a player like that because you can guarantee that you're almost going to not be able to keep him for the rest of the year, even if you wanted to. So it's horrible to own a player like that. It's detrimental to your side when you really need him because we found most years round 14 is just as hard as round 13. So be prepared for a lot of these Origin guys not to back up.
I agree. Is there anyone we're targeting from this? Matt Duffy with the 91 last week. He's a buy-round specialist against Penrith. I mean, both fullbacks, Dylan Edwards with a ton last week. Is there someone we can target in this game for the upside? Personally,
100%. Yeah, I see a lot. I think you got to go Jake.
Yeah, I think Dylan Edwards. A lot of people only have one fullback at the moment, or they're playing a centre wing fullback currently at fullback. So I think Dylan Edwards is good enough. I wouldn't be going near Duffy just on the fact that the Bulldogs are poor. But another player who I've seen a bit in the comments, Matt Burton. He's secretly going. Yeah, he's secretly been going all right.
Yep.
In an ordinary dog side, he's back goal kicking, so he does have a bit more base to him. But again, he's a player you're gonna have to move on because he's not really going to be a finishing, halfback. But I think we've seen enough that he can be an all right play.
I had the decision between him and Cody Walker 4 weeks ago, and I was kind of regretting it at one point because Burton went, I think he went like 56, then 80, 80, 80, and Cody Walker went like 88, 30, then 100 or something. So it's kind of worked out okay, and it'll be good for round 17. But I mean, he's a good trade in, and against his old side.
Yeah,
Mikey?
expect him to have a big one. And back at Penrith Stadium, where he did so much for us last year, he'll be ready to get one up on the Panthers. But looking at this game, like I know I'm a Penrith supporter on that, but I'm really not troubled by the guys they've named in the spots. I think they've done so much tactical stuff. If you didn't know, the 6 players that are coming in new all got the week off from New South Wales Cup last week. They're ready to go. Ivan Cleary's learnt the lesson what happened to us last year, and I think they'll be ready to manage it through. The guys that they brought in have played with a lot of these other guys, and it's not going to look like a New South Wales Cup side. I think they could still put a big number of points on the Bulldogs, but I expect the Bulldogs still to be hungry as well. So yeah, like I don't like, if I really want to make a play for the buy round, there's 2 guys. Like I could say goodbye to Cotter, and I could go Cotter to Coruscant. I think Coruscant could be a bit of a sneaky play. I think most of these plays are short term, but could you hold on to Coruscant for most of the year? Yes, and play him on matchup if you had to, and then bridge to Cook after the buy round. I think you could. He's been playing brilliantly, and when the attacking stats are on, he's really good. Dylan Edwards off the back of 100. I like your thoughts there, boys. I think he could be another sneaky play, and same with Kurt Falls. I'm really wary. Like, we saw Nathan Cleary play too hard in Origin last time and hurt his shoulder and was out for the rest of the year. I think it just sucks if you're going to do a Kurt Falls play. O'Sullivan's the first man in that pecking order, so. Yeah, I'm going to have it's going to be tough to make a decision, but man, part of me really wants to just make a play for Kurt Falls, but I don't think it might be a smart long-term play.
I do like it. Before we go on to the next game, guys, do we see a world where we can sell Harry Grant, put Cotter up to hooker, and use that money over the Origin period to be able to boost your side with guns for round 17, and then get him back with the lingering flu that he has, the lingering injuries, Origin, break even of 166. Is there a world where you see yourself doing that? If you had more trades, even?
Yeah, maybe if I had more trades. But the fact I got Robson as my backup hooker, I'm fine just leaving Harry Grant there. I don't want to waste, 2 trades getting rid of Harry Grant and then bringing him back in. So I'm happy just to sit him there. And I mean, if you have an Appy, a Robson, or even a Cotter, then you should be fine with hooker. There's not really any need to get rid of Harry Grant. But then again, if you're not happy with your side from, I guess, this point through to round 17, then I guess use his money because you think he's probably going to be managed all the way through.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to be for sure. I agree with your thoughts there. It could be a really good play, but Sabs, if you have the balls to do it. But if you've got a backup hooker, why do it? You need to have over 20 trades to do it, I reckon, for sure, which I'm pretty sure none of us have.
We don't, but you can move Cotter down and then move him back up when someone like a Nat Butcher peaks or something like that. Who knows? Could be a good one.
There's still a lot of trades in that process.
It is. All right, before we move on to the next game, let's go to a quick break.
Are you suffering from symptoms of same-game multi-minus?
Try TopSport's same-game multi, where your odds stay strong. Some same-game multis decrease with an extra leg, reducing your returns. Get the most out of your multi with TopSport, the same-game multi with strong prices on every leg, so you win what you're expecting to win.
Cure your multi-minus by downloading the TopSport app today.
Brought to you by TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Making sure you use the code SCExperience when signing up, lads. Let's move on to the next game. We've got Manly versus the Warriors, 7:30 on Saturday. This is a pretty Supercoach relevant game. We've got a lot of cheapies in the Manly backline playing. We've got Ruben Garrick absolutely killing it. A potential VC option. On the other side of the park, Marcelo Montoya is flying. Reece Walsh. This will be my question of the week. Reece Walsh versus Ruben Garrick for a VC option. What do we think, guys?
What team do you think is going to score more points? Pretty simply. I mean,
it's going to be like 34-30 or something.
Okay, so you think that's going to be high scoring regardless?
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be that.
I don't think either. With no DCE and the Warriors, I guess not exactly being too crash hot. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. But I think Reece Walsh is obviously going to be the pod move. Not me. I don't know what his percentage is, but it's quite lowly owned. A lot of people actually bringing in Garrick this week. He'll probably go, above 15, potentially up to 20% in ownership. And a lot of people probably have the VC on him because before that game, there's not really any, I guess, high ceiling plays, maybe except for maybe Kick-Out that people might be VCing. So up to you, Savs, mate. If you want the pod move, Reece Walsh.
I'm doing it. Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, I like it. I think if I had Garrick, which I'm not, and he's probably the player I'm most scared not owning this week, just because of what he can do. But yeah, same reason. I want Johnson, I want Lomax, I want Graham. You can't have them all. So I'd definitely VC Garrick if I owned him this week, and there'd be no one else I would VC. But Reece Walsh as a pod, that could work out, man. And not many others are going to be doing that with.
I think the captaincy is a big way you can get a leg up this week.
Or have less players play. If you can get your captaincy options perfect and you nail a pod, then having 11 or 12 players could beat a 15-man squad.
I think Ewan Aiken is one that is a potential captain option as well. He's running at Olakuatu. If you have Olakuatu, he's a nice one as well.
No DCE, no turbo. That's what scares me with Olakuatu. Who's going to feed him?
Is Gerbo a buy?
I actually had a look at him this week, and I didn't like what I saw because I think if you're going to buy these guys, you're going to have to sell most of them. That's why Angus Crichton, I can't believe you're not doing it, Saj, is such a good buy purely because you can hold him
I think I'm going to do it. I was going to make a third trade, and that was Josh King to Joe Tapine.
That's not bad either. I had a really good look at Joe Tapine going, should I sell Payne Haas-Again? But all these things, I'm selling someone that I probably shouldn't. So don't overthink it, guys. If you take a hit this week, you can make up for it. Just ensure that if you're going to make a hit, do you have a plan in place to run strong for the next buy and the run home? Like, it's not ideal, but it is what it is.
Good call. I'm going to reconsider. But I don't know. I like Nat Butcher as well because he's got a negative break even. But
you're going to spend more trades doing that, and you've already burned through quite a few. That's what you got to think. I do like Nat Butcher too, but Robbo keeps flicking them around, and it would have been a good move last week.
Yeah. I agree. And the last game, Raiders versus the Roosters. Joseph Manu, fullback. For the Billy Smith owners, he's in finally. He's back. Paid off faith with the owners. Nat Butcher at lock and Crichton and Tupanua on the edges. Guys, is there anything we like here?
Look, it's tough because I think there's so many good Roosters options. I think they're the team to target, but they are playing a Canberra side that are almost at full strength. Like, they're not really missing anyone from Origin. They're missing Papali'i, who has been awesome for them, and they've been playing good footy. But yeah, this one will probably be close to your closest game of the round, I'm assuming, or in intensity. But yeah, all those guys you mentioned, Tupanua back on the second row is probably a good play. Butcher, you've got Crichton, who, it's great for us, Jake, that he's playing this week. But now look at his ownership search. He's been working as a good pod for the past couple of weeks. But this game is probably the one you want your captain in, because you've got Joey Manu's upside and you've got Angus Crichton's security. So I see both of those guys having the highest ownership in captaincy.
I agree. Do we also think Joe Tapine? What do we think of him?
I think Jake, I'll answer the last one.
Yeah, I do like Joe Tapine. He's guaranteed big minutes this week with no Josh Papali'i in there. So, and even all he needs is really 50 minutes, and he can get you 70 points. He's got an offload. He gets through so much work and runs. So, he definitely has a high floor. Just minutes has been the problem. Like, Timmy was going to bring him in last week. I was talking to him on Sunday on the pod, and he was going to bring him in, but it was just like, what is Ricky doing with these minutes? He's going playing 41 weeks, 60 the next, and he was just like, no, I'm just going to go Hudson Young, just on the guaranteed 80. And I mean, he should have gone Tapine, because he looks pretty good. And I mean, Savs, you did start with him, and I guess it was the minutes at that start of the season is the reason that you kind of got rid of him. But yeah, what do you reckon of him now? Would you bring him?
I think the minutes are still a bit of a worry, but at least he's kind of getting 45 to 50 at least at the start of the season. Ricky was constantly putting him on for the first 20 and the last 20, and that was it. Like, he refused to change from that, and I hated that. So I think the fact that Papali's out for Origin, they're going well. I think that's the main thing. He's not going to kind of sway away from what he's doing at the moment. So I expect 60 minutes from him this week. I mean, we could get 65, 70. That would be absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I love him. I'm getting him in for Payne Haas right now. But yeah. What was that?
That's my stomach. I'm fucking hungry.
Oh, nice.
Are you actually selling Haas to Tap?
No, he's not. He's full of crap.
No, I just did it, but I'll reconsider. I was going to do.
Yeah, I was considering it as well. Like, Haas hasn't been like.
If I do Haas, I can do Haas to Tapine and Tuolangi to Crichton, or I could do Josh King to Tapine and Tuolangi to Butcher. So I don't know, kind of like the.
Well, you could save a trade.
I don't think Haas is.
Yeah, doing that.
He's not going to be massive throughout the season, so I don't know. All right, let's move on, guys.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Captain Planet, he's a hero.
So I figured out that wasn't what was copywriting us. It was the news hot topics intro thing. So
really,
that's what it was. I did not expect it. I thought it was just a basic.
Oh, I thought my shout out to Captain Planet might have saved us that time. Damn.
It's going to be a quick one today because we've got to be gone by 5. So, Mikey, what are you considering for the captains this week?
I don't think I will change it, but yeah, VC Kickow. We didn't really talk about Kickow, but I brought him in for the buy round and potential like 18th man kind of hold. But looking at it now, I will happily trade Kickow to build my numbers as he's just been like this. But yeah, VC for Kickow. He didn't go too well against the Bulldogs last time. He's at his home ground, and I'm hoping he shows his new club what he's made of, and he'll have to set up this week. I'm not worried that O'Sullivan. It'll be Kurt Force playing on the left. I like his ball play and I like his kicks. And kicks has been scoring a lot of tries off kicks, funny enough. But yeah, he's a lot of them. Last week, I thought he was unlucky to be denied that try. Yeah, and I think that'll be a pod VC because of all these other Garrick options and stuff. I think that's going to be a pod play, I'm hoping, which is why I'm doing it. And captaincy's going to be on Joey Manu. If for some reason he gets flicked to center and they put Suwali at fullback, I'll go to Crichton. But we've seen what he can do at fullback. He's been excellent, and his work rate will increase massively at fullback. I reckon that's his best position, and so do many others. So I think that's the best thing I can do this week, and I've got to also go safe, but whatever I think is going to score me more, especially if I'm only going to run 10 to 11 players now.
Jake, what direction are you going in for captains?
Pretty plain and boring. I'll VC Garrick with a potential upside, and then just play it safe with Angus Crichton. I don't have Joey Manu. Otherwise, I'd like Mike, you'll be like, what way do I go? But think I'm going safe with Angus. He's due a try, so maybe he crosses over, gets me 80, 90 points, and I'll take it. Unless Garrick goes and scores 120.
All right, so I'm VCing Walsh and captaining Manu, and my bold predictions are Manu, Walsh, Tapane, all 100 plus. Actually, I hope Manu doesn't go 100 plus because that means I probably would have looped, and it would have been a bad loop.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter because
true.
It's a free loop.
Yeah,
so you're
100%.
not exactly taking into consideration any downs that you get.
Jake, which direction are you going?
Bold predictions. I'm going to go Lola's going to score a try and score. We'll go 90 plus. I'm going to go Garrick will score a ton as well, and Angus Crichton will score a ton.
Mikey?
Kurt Force to go 70. No, he's going to go, we'll go 75 plus. Panthers will win by 20. And I will add to that Ruba Garrick under 50. Just because I am deaf riding the hell out of him. Just quickly too, I'll quickly ask one question before we leave. Sorry to all the questions we couldn't answer, guys. It's been a bit hectic this week. We've been really busy, but we'll try and get to them. VCing, what is the low? Like, what's the lowest score you'd take to loop? 80 on this round, just to clear it up to watchers. Jake?
Yeah, I'll probably take an 80, 85 maybe.
Even 70, 78 you would consider?
No.
I'd
probably 80 plus.
I'd consider 70 to 75, to be honest. Like, if I say Kickout goes and gets me 75, but he's got 4 impending offloads, some tackle busts that I miss, I'll take it. In a round like this where, to be honest with you, like, the clear captaincy options are going to be Manu, Garrick and all that. What if they flunk and not get any attacking stats and blah, blah, blah? Then a 70 is going to be good. I guess it just all depends on how the rest of your team go at that point. But, I think I'm not going to be greedy this week. 75 would be good, I reckon, is the minimum for me.
I agree. I like it. Hopefully, it's a big week this week, and all the popular players score well, so we all have a respectable score. Sorry for the quick episode, guys. It's been really hectic the last few weeks, so we'll get back to normal trading as per usual very soon enough. The Sunday pods are still there. We've got Maxi back this Sunday. Guys, make sure to go over to iTunes and Spotify and give us a rate. That really helps us out. And we have a YouTube channel for the people who listen on the audio platforms. So head over to YouTube if you want to watch it. You can see all the cool graphics and stuff. Jake, you had something?
So do both of you guys have to go? Because I'm happy to just take control and just go through these questions.
If you want to do
awesome.
that's perfect.
5-10 minutes.
Perfect. All right, hooray for Jake the hero, man. You go plug the Captain Planet song again, bro, please.
Yep. All right. Cheers, Jake, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys. Good luck, Supercoach, and let's hope my 10 plays don't burn me too hard. Adios.
All right, now those two flunks have gone. Mike,
I'm not meant to be here. I got added back. Goodbye.
TBJ, like we found out, gone. I think he is a trade out. You pretty much brought him in for this very reason, and the fact he's gone, I think, you do get rid of him. Maxi giving me a good old props. Gus or Butch, I think we went through a bit of this. Josh Smith, he's brought up a point about Gus getting called up after New South Wales. I don't think they get smashed, but if they potentially do and there's mass changes, I don't think it matters because Gus, I guess he'll play 15. That won't really, if there's no, everyone, misses the bye, so it's not going to be all that bad. And then 17, the Roosters have the bye anyway, so Butcher won't be playing. So I wouldn't be basing your decision just on the thought that there might be mass changes and Angus might play. You're pretty much bringing them in for this round and any rounds going forward. So don't be basing your decision on any changes there. Mitch Webb, Josh King for Lolo. Yeah, I think Josh King is, he probably should have been traded out a couple of weeks ago, but Lolo, even with a big break even, he's kind of going to be a good number. Hopefully, Todd Payton treats him like he should be treated and plays 60 minutes. And if that's the case, then his potential at front row is definitely going to be, I guess, a hold for the rest of the season. Cherry Evans, hold. He's got a huge BE, thinking of training for Sexton. I don't think you'd be training for Sexton. You're going to be trading him out straight away. Oh, look at this. Here's a man. Here's a man. He missed out on Sunday. He's jumped in. Perfect.
As soon as I saw the boys jump off, Jakey, I just thought I better sweep in. I'm flu affected, but as I just want to congratulate you on your excellent performance on Sunday night, mate. I've got lots of messages saying that I've been replaced, and look, it's been tough for me to address.
No, look, that's a lie, mate. I was me and Timmy just bounced off each other. We tried to do our best, but we can't be replacing you on the Sunday. Okay, you can jump in here, mate. You're a Manly fan. Cherry Evans, is he a hold?
No.
Not for Sexton, I don't think so.
Without Turbo, not for Sexton. The thing that I'm considering, which I think that a lot of people that might have, say, DC or a halfback, which isn't necessarily a keeper, is obviously the move to the new Panthers bloke who's coming along. The issue that I have is that when you go back to two fullbacks, i.e., a Papi or a Teddy, you're going to want to have Cleary and Hines, and it's going to make that strategy not viable at all. In answer to the question, I wouldn't trade him to Sexton, and I wouldn't trade him unless you're going to go to that Panthers cheapie. And if you're going to do that, that means you're going to have to go without one of the big four. So
on this one thing I would do is say you got Hines at fullback, which I assume he does. I'd flick Hines up to halfback and say bring in a fullback or a centre wing for Cherry Evans. So maybe a Garrick, maybe even a Dylan Edwards, Joey Manu. I'd bring one of those players instead of Sexton because you can pretty much play those players almost to the end. And then I guess trade out a different centre wing for a different fullback. So not Sexton, but if you're able to bring in a fullback or centre wing.
100%. Yeah. And I think Dylan Edwards is the big one too. Like, I just think he's one of the ones that plays in this round that can really kick off and ton up for sure. And let's be honest, with the fullback injuries going at play, there's not, the real risk is not really there, because if he doesn't perform over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you just click him up to perhaps when he's back or whoever it may be. So yeah, I think that's the move to make.
Is Cobbo a trade out? Marnie or Garrick, either or, they're probably pretty much similar, but would you be trading Cobbo? Do you think his run's finished?
No, I reckon he'll keep on scoring. Timmy was saying it. He's been saying it for a couple of weeks. He's going to hold him for the whole season. He's just an absolute talent. Broncos are playing well. Unless the Broncos have a dip in form for 3 or 4 weeks, I wouldn't consider moving him on. I'd be looking elsewhere. Do you kind of think the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish I had Cobb. I never actually had him for the start, and I was like, yeah, this is a good move. But all of a sudden, he's just hit form, and he's scored tries for fun. Got an Origin call-up, which, I mean, he's a winger, so he will back up, so it's not going to be, rested or affected in any of the games. And, I mean, he's been scoring big even without A-Ray, which is big. So, I mean, yeah, if you can find someone else, like if you had a Stag, I'd be trading Stags to one of them. But Cobbo, I think, I don't know, the way he's going, he's still got a bit more, he's still got a low break even, I'm pretty sure. So I kind of be staying away maybe, but you kind of do want Manu or a Garrick for this round. So unless you can't find anyone else, then I guess take the hit with Cobbo.
Yeah, I mean, also depends on who you have. Like I've obviously commented previously that I got Tupou or someone like that. I think you try and make sure that you get all the other players of that sort out before you trade someone like Cobbo out. Because the reality is you're probably going to have to trade him back in later on. He seems like he's a keeper at the end of the day. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Will Penasini hold? Sexus says no. I think he's just unhit his straps though. I mean, it's a tough one because he hit that point where you go, yep, he's hit his peak. Everyone sort of traded him out. I know I did. And then he's just got another run. They're going right. They're using him more in attack. He's scoring tries. He seems to, I guess, jump more. What would you do with him? He's not quite the class as Cobbo. I don't think he has that ceiling. So I'd be more inclined to get rid of Penasini than, say, a Cobbo. But is he a hold? Or, again, would you prefer him to go to, say, a Manu or a Garrick?
I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one. He's kind of that one of those fringe people, fringe players in centre wing. So I think you move someone like him over across to a Manu or Garrick. I also think he's not one of those people who's going to burn you. He has some high scores in him, but the ceiling isn't like your 140s, your 130s like a Cobbo can get. I think he ultimately is one of those you playing based on matchup kind of centre wings, and I think that if you're scrambling for numbers, you got to get rid of him because he does score their 30s and 40s, and the Eels have a mixed draw. I know that they go up against the Roosters, I think. Around 15, and then they have a good run with Tigers and Warriors in 17, 18, but they've got Broncos and Penrith thereafter. So it's not like he's got an amazing run or that sorts where you might keep a hold on to him.
Yeah, I do agree. It's pretty up and down draw. They do play the Bulldogs in round 14, which you might want him for, but you also got to think you kind of want to start bringing in those gun centre wings. And like Mikey was saying, you kind of want Campbell Graham, you want Zach Lomax, and you probably don't really want a Penasini. You prefer those guys. So I guess that's someone that you're going to probably end up trading out. If not this week, then in the next couple of weeks anyway, because I don't see him as really an end of season player.
Yeah, and add Jason Saab to that list. He's bottomed out, ready for people to bring in.
Don't we have enough Manly centre wings that were cheap? Do we need another one?
Well, I am going to the game this weekend, and I'm very much considering bringing Jason Saab in, so everyone can laugh at me instead of laughing at Sabs for not having Teddy.
Well, I mean, it's a downgrade option, and what is he, 170k cheap? I'm pretty sure he's the same price as what he started with last year when everyone had him, but he's just gone backwards.
Yeah, he's a downgrade in a literal sense too, unfortunately. Poor Jason. Anyway.
Another one from Mitch Webb, Josh King to Lolo Tarpane. Who do you prefer out of Lolo and Tarpane?
Lolo, just because I reckon he's the safer option. I don't want to have to bring in someone like a Tarpane and trade him out. And the thing about Tarpane is always a minute fluctuation with him and what Ricky does with his forwards. So at this stage of the season, I'm just kind of looking at, if I was to make that move, I'd go to Lolo. Is that the way you'd go?
Yeah, I do agree with you there. Again, Tim was saying the same thing on Sunday. He was going to bring in Tarpane because he went TPJ, but then had to trade TPJ because he was ruled out. And he was under the same thing. He's like, these forwards with Ricky, who knows what they're going to do. And I know Lolo's kind of been a bit the same, but I guess with that pedigree, and he's shown enough when he hasn't, I guess, been managed the 2 games before he got injured that a bit of the old Lolo could be back there. So, yeah, I'll go Lolo. Unless you want the pod in Tarpane, but I think it comes with more risk than, say, a Lolo. Mm-hmm. Who to sell for Gus this week? Oh, we've got a lot of cheap. You must have some cash, this Spencer Hicks. Fafita, Valeta, Burba, or Tass. Only considering holding Fafita for the next buys. I have 5. I wouldn't really worry about Fafita being player for the buy. It's only going to get, 25 points. But then again, those other 3, 2 of them aren't even playing, and another one's injured. So Fafita's the only one that's actually healthy.
I mean, yeah, any of them really sell.
Yeah.
I'd probably go in the order of Vilea, Fafita, Tass, Vilea, Tass, Fafita, Burbo, just because I think Burbo will probably make his way back in. Vilea has shown that he's going to get dropped once the team's full strength, so that's one that you can obviously move out. Tass is, it'd be lucky if he's back in that squad. You're banking on injuries happening. And Fafita, yes, he's playing, but he's only getting 20 or 30 minutes. So, toss of the coin, whatever works with your side, but they're all sells, so it's not going to burn you.
Yeah, I think with Vilea, he did sign a contract, a new 3-year contract. I think he might still come back into that team because when you're talking about full strength Warriors team, there's not much strength in the outside backs to begin with. So I think he might keep a spot, but he does have a ridiculously low floor. And I guess with a -20, you hope he comes back in, scores in a couple of games, and I guess makes another 50-something K, and then we can get rid of him. But yeah, like you said, they're all going to be sells. Burbo, you think, kind of comes back in. Tass is one injury away. I still have Tass. I end up getting rid of Taff last week when he was benched, and I kept Tass. Just hopefully there's an injury to a South outside back, and he's going to be first one in there. What have we got? This one, Togo or Aiken?
Do you have Aiken?
I do have Aiken. If I had the choice, I'd probably go Aiken just on upside. But that's what I'm going, I guess, Togo this week.
Yeah, I would too. And the good thing about Aiken too is I actually really think he's going to end up around the top 6 or 7 centre wings. So he's got that added flexibility if he's one of the good ones you can keep in that position. Tohu's obviously a great buy, but I just reckon Aiken's just really safe, especially in that centre wing position. So I'd go Aiken, but it's a close one.
Yeah, 100% agree. Now we've got Amanu or Garrick if you could only have one.
Interesting.
I do like this question because I only have Garrick, and I guess I'm not going to be burning trades to bring Manu in. Ideally, you want both, but I guess you can only bring one in. Who would you choose?
And that's relevant for me because I probably can only bring one of them in. I think Manu's. Even when the Roosters not hitting their straps necessarily, he's still performing quite well. And I think he's probably the one which is most likely going to become a keeper. But I also think the Sea Eagles without Turbo and DCE thing is it's an issue, but I think it's maybe a little bit overplayed, especially when you're going up against the Warriors. I think there's still a lot of talent in the side, and Garrick's one of those players in this round which could go 120, 130, especially with the goal kicking. So, it's a flip of a coin. I'm going Manu purely because I don't want to put my Sea Eagles goggles on, and I think he'll end up as a keeper. But honestly, it's really, really a flip of a coin.
And I think it's kind of going to be who you think scores the most from here on out, because I don't think you're going to get rid of either one if you get them. Marnie will go back to the centres. He might fill in a couple of times at fullback when Teddy rested just after Origin, potentially next round, and then after round 17, you may see Teddy probably rested, so Marnie plays them. But I prefer Garrick. He's pretty much locked into fullback for the season. Goal kicks as well, but yeah, either or, whatever one you're more happy with to, I guess, run through for the rest of the season. I just want to chuck this one up here. Where's the joke, Savs? Savs, he did 2 jokes at the start of the year. He was a bit caused a bit of controversy with one of them, but he's kind of stopped them. I guess, where are the jokes? The joke is this week that he didn't have Tedesco, which me and Mikey absolutely loved. We're a bit disappointed that Timmy couldn't make it on, because he wanted to give it to him as well. But
I think it's best. I think it's best for the sustainability of the Supercoach experience that the jokes stop, not because necessarily we don't think Savs is an incredibly funny man. We obviously do, but yeah, the edginess is perhaps it's a bit on edge.
Yeah, only way I can get crying is by trading Satili. Is this the way of his trade? I think if it was last week, I would have been, yep, do it. But he's back starting Satili, so I don't really think you should be doing that. It's kind of a bit sideways. I know Crichton's probably got more pedigree behind him, but the fact that both of them are starting, I'd be trading. We can't, but I'd prefer to trade someone else other than Satili. The fact that he's starting.
Yeah, surely you've got Jared's got players he can trade out to get Crichton. If you can't, DM me your team, Jared.
I mean, your second row must be good if he's your only option.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many players we perceive as like holds, but the reality is you can't keep everyone in your team despite them paying Origin or whatnot. So yeah, definitely find a different way to get him in.
Tough out for Mitch Moses. Well, Mitch Moses doesn't exactly play this round, so I guess Dylan Edwards would be the preference there. If you are to get rid of someone, and I guess you would bring Dylan Edwards in this week. But I actually am looking at Mitch Moses or Dylan Brown for, I guess, 14 and to play 17. I guess potentially the run home. So I guess Dylan Edwards, but if you don't really want either of them, if you don't care, I will just not trade Taff out at all, and then do a trade next week on, say, Mitch Moses.
Yeah, I completely agree with the Dylan Brown one. That's going to be one that I'm definitely moving to make. I think he's an absolute keeper in that position, and yeah, to the extent you can hold off, unless you're going to go Dylan Edwards for 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe you've got the trades to bring him. Obviously do the Hines switch, and then through Jules get in someone like a Dylan Brown, but otherwise don't sell him.
Ted, thanks for sticking back, bro. No worries. Would you trade out Haas, Sawali, and Hines for Ruben Garrick, Joey Martin, and Coruscant? Nah, that's getting rid of too many keepers, in my opinion. Haas and Hines, I would not be getting rid of them.
Yeah, not because they're top 1 or 2 in their position. Sawali is playing, so I wouldn't get rid of him this week, but maybe next week you might think he's peaked. He's around, I think, 425, 450, so maybe he's a move on. Yeah, again, Ted, I think there's more players in your squad that you can kind of move on to him. So just kind of have a look and also see how many of your perceived like non-trade outs, i.e. keepers, you've got on your side. If you're sitting with, say 7 or 8 that you think you can't trade, maybe you've got to move one of them on because you can't hold everyone during this buy period.
Yeah, I do agree. Like you said, I don't think removing all them guys is the way to go. Is Terrell May? I'm assuming he means going to Nuff next week. Well, he's played the last 3 games, or going to play his 3rd game this week, and he only played like 1 minute on the weekend. So I don't think it's even worth bringing him in for, say, his 5 points that he might get this week as a cost top-up for next week. One player who I kind of potentially might be looking at next week, or as a downgrade for Max King, would be Michael Molo from the Dragons. He'll be bottom dollar. He's playing a decent minutes. The only thing is Josh Maguire will probably be back, I think, around 15-ish. So potentially is a loss. But yeah, I don't think bringing in Terrell's really much point, because he's not going to score anything that's going to be significant this week. He could, when Radley comes back, he will disappear, but I don't see much point in wasting a trade on any of that unless you really need that cash.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. Next one, it says, is Hammer an option, rock bottom price, Cowboys easy draw and felt out 6 to 8 weeks? I think you guys covered this and you said you're not really interested.
Yeah, we covered it. If it was, I guess, a different point in the season, we probably would. If it was earlier on, say around 5 or 6, we probably would. But I think at this point, everyone pretty much had, like, all their buy players are in centre wing at the moment. I mean, maybe a Valet, if you still have Tass, you can maybe go to him. But like we said earlier, he hasn't really set the world on fire playing wing. If you have the trades, go for it. But if you have been burning through them, like, say, Mikey and Sav have, then I wouldn't be really going to him.
No, I think there's better ones to go through. I definitely agree. Angus, Tohu, or Olakawatu for this weekend to hold the entire season?
I think Angus. I think Angus is the top of the list. He has the pedigree to be a keeper before. He started, a bit poor and was benched, but I think that's changed. Tohu, he just seems a little bit sluggish. Based on, previous years, he was, just Mr. Consistent. I watched a couple of his games already this year. He just seems a bit behind. Seems a bit sluggish on that knee. And Ola, I mean, Ola's an all right one. With DC in the team, he's definitely a lot better because they go to him. You'd probably know that more than anyone. They seem to hit that right edge with no turbo, and as DC just likes to go there. So I prefer Angus. Ola would be second, and I guess a Tohu. How do you see those three?
Yeah, I think that's the right move to make. Right order to have him in. Yeah, you're right about DC. He throws that great ball, and I mean, I think Ola will still score quite decently this week. He just seems like one of those players who they have a lot of attacking sets around, and yeah, he's just looking in absolute fantastic form. And I also think, I mean, he wasn't going to make Origin. I think he was always a bit of a smoky, but he's on the fringe, and he wants to obviously keep that form up because if we lose game one, there needs to be changes. He might be one which kind of is on the cusp of getting in maybe game 2 or game 3 or who knows. So, but yeah, I definitely think it's Angus 1, Ola 2, and then Tohu 3. Coolies. All right. Stuart says, I'm prepped for round 13, looking at selling Tarth and Taff to Mulatalo and Mam to start prepping for 17. I know Mam's not likely to pay 17, but he'll generate more cash. I'd be waiting on Mam to see if he's named round 14, would you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mikey was wanting to pull. Actually, a lot of people have pulled the trigger already on Mam, but if we knew that he was going to get the 5-8 spot when A-Ray comes back, which A-Ray should be back next week, it's not a long-term injury. If he was guaranteed the 5-8 spot, he would be most traded in next week for sure. But if you can wait, definitely. I mean, Mulatalo I think he's kind of a wait as well. I think he's got a high break even, so you can kind of wait on both of them. I would wait on trades. I wouldn't be using trades now for say round 14, 15, 16, 17. Because anything can happen between now and 14. Like someone can go and hurt themselves in training. So I kind of wouldn't really be doing that now. I'll just be chilling out a bit and waiting till next week.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's too early to be making those sorts of moves. Unless you're going to, I mean, even this week.
What's going on?
Ding, ding, ding.
That's big.
This has got to be the biggest troll ever. Thanks, Savs, for that one. We very much appreciate you. Obviously, you can see Savs is really busy and can't do the podcast because, he loves to troll instead. Just kidding. So second last question, is Rapana a keeper? Raiders draw looking good, selling by Leah, and that's from Alan Fisher.
I don't think he's a keeper. He's not the Rapana of 2016 where he was the best centre wing. But, I mean, this week, and the Raiders do look good. I don't know. I don't mind it, but the fact is that's sort of a centre wing where we already have a lot of players and a lot of players that we'll bring in 14 for 17. I don't think it's really a play this week necessarily. I mean, if you're going to bring in when he hit rock bottom at 350k 3 weeks ago, then that was golden. But right now, I don't think so.
No, plenty better options. I think it's one which is a massive pod move, but I don't know. I just don't. I think you're bringing those pods and teams that can put on a lot of points. And I don't know whether the Raiders are going to look that fantastic, especially without people love to talk smack about Whiten, but I do think he's a key cog in that side. So cool. So let's do the last question here from the SSC podcast. Playing Appy, Garrick, Lolo this week. Looking to go Lolo to Clem, Garrick to Graham, and Appy to McGuinness for 17 and the run home. Thoughts, boys? Lolo to Clem. Maybe he's talking about next week.
Yeah, it'd be next week's trades.
Lolo to Clem? No, I wouldn't be moving off Lolo. I think you bring him in, or if you've got him, you hold him for as long as you can. Garrick to Graham, again, I think you kind of hold on to Garrick for as long as you can. Appy to McInnes, I'm fine with that move. Is that kind of your perspective too?
Yeah, I don't mind the Appy to McInnes. I mean, it's basically your second hooker in round 17. So yeah, I don't mind that one at all. And McInnes, I guess, has that duel as well. So he will be someone that I guess a lot of people will be targeting for round 14 for round 17. But I guess I don't know about Garrick to Graham. Graham is someone you want to be probably bringing in. that's for sure. But I mean, a Sawali, I'd much rather be training a Sawali to him, which is what I'm looking at for round 14. Lolo to Clem. I mean, Clem, he has looked good recently, but it's not an exciting player. He's going to get you 60, 65, maybe 70 with his offloads that he goes. And at 600k, it's going to cost you 150k to do that. The way like Lolo's going to lose money this week with his high break even.
Sorry.
Consistent.
Yeah, I mean, and also you got the two clear front rowers being Haas, assuming he doesn't get suspended or stood down or whatever it is, the contract stuff, and IPAP. So it's kind of like, do you want to be playing a third front row forward every week? Probably not. So
no,
I completely agree with what you said there.
Yeah, because I mean, ideally you'd be playing a second fullback, that's for sure. Probably playing one or two halves, and then mixing up with centre wings, second rows. Front rows aren't exciting, so not really a priority. I don't think it will be for a lot of people.
No, definitely go. It's kind of a mix this season between the kind of sexy attacking football that we used to have, where it was playing three centre wings in your reserves last season versus the old days of stack the pack and kind of move forward. So it's kind of a mix of the both, but I still think front rowers aren't going to be someone you're going to play in your reserves every week.
Sweet.
Fantastic, mate.
Thanks for jumping in on very late notice, Maxi. Absolute legend. I could tell that you were a bit angry that you couldn't make it on Sunday. You just wanted a bit of that talking with the people. So I'm glad you jumped in and gave me a bit of a hand there.
No, not a problem at all. I just I know you're an absolute super coach brainiac, but I thought I'd just come in to give my contribution to let people know that have a good go, because Max is bringing in Saab this week, and you've got to be a better super coach if you're not doing that.
Oh, Saab for a hat trick. Still score 60 points, but Saab for a hat trick on that. So you're going to be back Sunday. I think Tim Moody says he was going to jump on because he couldn't make it this week. So look forward to I might tune in and throw a few questions your way. Thanks everyone for your questions. Thanks for hanging around with us at the end. Sorry the other two couldn't stick around, busy lives that they have. I think Mike was at work. I still don't know what Sav's doing, to be honest, with what he's shoved in there. But good luck this week in the buys. Don't stress too much. Just enjoy it. Go the Blues most of all. If you go for Queensland, unlucky.
Yeah, and if I'm going to the game, I'm going to the State of Origin. Are you going, Jakey?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll be watching at a pub somewhere with a bunch of me mates.
Fantastic. Well, if anyone is either at Four Pines or this Saturday, or is at Origin next Wednesday and sees me and recognises me, I'm not famous at all, but I do like to have a good dribble with some fellow super coaches. So give me a shout out, and love to meet you all. So enjoy the weekend, lads, and we'll catch you on Sunday.
See you.